Mr. Sir. Thank you for your presence. The DG Akon and all of our DGs here, DG Charles, you're welcome. I'd like to use this opportunity to just quickly share my new role and responsibility. Before the Honorable Minister came in, I was telling them that in Milan, Italy, about 3 weeks ago, I was elected as the Vice President for the International Advertising Association, IAA, which is thank you very much, which is the most prestigious global advertising association in the world. It was formed in 1938, about 87 years old, with presence in about 56 countries today. So this opportunity I've been given by the NEC is to openly invite all our members here to become members of IAA. And I say this because this new role as the VP and Director for Africa that I was voted in is the first time a Nigerian will occupy this position. Thank you. For many years, we've had our brothers in Ghana been in that seat, but now the opportunity has come to Nigeria for us to control and to be able to push for the footprint of IAA across the 54 countries in Africa. And you can see earlier on, we just have Nigeria, Accra, which is Ghana, and South Africa as the three existing members, because if you don't pay your dues, then you get delisted. These are the three existing countries. But since I assumed this position, we're making moves to set up in Ethiopia, in Mozambique, and in Zambia. So we've quickly getting to work. So I just like to inform you that the IAA in Nigeria is up and running, and everybody is welcome, because this is an association that includes government agencies, advertising agencies, the clients, the tech businesses, and we have partners from so many other companies like Unilever across the world that are partners. So if you really want to join the IAA, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll make sure that that happens. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful conference, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Babaiko, for that. Next in line, we want to bring up stage the chairman of Advertising Agency Association of Nigeria, and the president of AAAN, and the person of Mr. Larry Adisa, for his speech, please. Thank you.
A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
A round of applause for him. He is representing all the secretarial group this morning.
Good morning once again, and I'd like to recognize the Honorable Minister for honoring us on this occasion. Today is the 5th edition of this conference, and we've maintained that we'll always be in Abuja. So we thank you for being part of this year. Thank you so much. As we all know, the entity called Nigeria is a brand, and you are the chief brand officer of Nigeria. We all know that. The people in this room represent the ecosystem of marketing communications. I would like to promise you that I would like to partner with you to ensure that brand Nigeria displays the best of its values to the world, and that government will have in us the best partner to make that happen. All the people that make brands happen. There are brands in Nigeria who have come to Nigeria and exert so much and made so much impact around the world from being in Nigeria. They believe in Nigeria. So that skill, the talent, it is not going to be of any use if we do not use it for our country. So this is the starting point for us. We've done 5 years. The next cycle is, how do we make brand Nigeria take advantage of the talent that is Nigeria? Nobody knows Nigeria better than Nigerians. And we are the people in the industry that can make that happen. So thank you so much for coming. And on behalf of the industry, we can assure you that taking it from this point, we would like to partner with you to make brand Nigeria excel and be the best there is in the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Larry Adisa, on behalf of the head of secretarial groups.
And of course, the most important brand, like Mr. Adisa said, is brand Nigeria. There's no other place that we have, and we need to protect it and project it in the right light. And talking about the ministry, you'll get to hear very soon about a very personal, what I call it, project to the ministry, talking about the FG Connect, which is the ministry's publication. 6 editions are out. We'll show you a barcode in a couple of minutes where you get to scan and download all 6 editions. It gives you an idea of what has been happening in the ministry, a lot of information that might go over your heads that you might not know. You'll get a chance to catch up. Yeah, they'll put that up soon. On that note, I would like to welcome on stage host for today, a man who has led a team through thick and thin, revolutionized the industry in his own way, and more importantly, put a lot of structure and, well, some might want to say sanity within the industry to ensure that compliance, regulation, and more are done.
The regulator.
The regulator himself. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please do make welcome once and for all today our host, DG Archon, in the person of Dr. Olalekan Fadolapo, FCA, FRPA. Please, I'm sure we can do much better than that. To him and his team as he gives his welcome remarks. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, my mentor and leader who has adopted me in addition to his several children, and I can say this again because I'm also aware that the minister has a very, very busy schedule. And he has to say, whatever it is, I'll be here today. I want to say a very big thank you to you, sir, for making time to attend this event. Thank you very much, sir. The DG of NBC, here present, the DG of Voice of Nigeria, here present, representative of other DGs that are here present, heads of sectoral groups that are here present, distinguished fellows and senior practitioners, colleagues, participants, and conference delegates. Our guests, esteemed colleagues, sponsors, and media partners, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, accept my warm greetings. With all sense of humility and gratitude, I welcome you to this year's National Advertising Conference, NAC 2025. It is both an honor and a privilege to stand before you today as we gather to explore one of the most critical topics of our time, marketing communications, transforming business and creating growth in challenging times. In today's world, marketing algorithms and marketing activities are shifting faster than ever. Consumer behavior and insight are becoming challenging to track, and digital disruption is now redefining the rules of engagement, which makes our ability to communicate effectively more vital. Today, we recognize the pivotal role that marketing communication play in driving business growth and navigating uncertain times. At the 2025 Advertising Conference, we have come together as strategists, creators, curators, innovators, and storytellers to exchange insights, challenge assumptions, and share solutions. This conference is a platform to reimagine and interrogate how marketing communication drives not only brand value, but also business resilience and sustenance growth, especially in tough times. Over the next 2 days, we will hear from experienced speakers, engage in dynamic panel sessions, and explore case studies that demonstrate how creative data and technology can work hand in hand to create meaningful impact. In these challenging times, when every sector of the economy is exploring transformational strategies to keep up with sustainability and maintain a consistent growth, this conference is our own industry convergence to learn, unlearn, and relearn better ways of getting out of the very best results in our various business. I encourage every participant to take this opportunity to learn, to network, to collaborate, and to come up with ideas that will position our industry. Once again, I warmly welcome you all. May this conference ignite fresh thinking, strengthen our ecosystem, and remind us that even in challenging times, great communication remains one of the most powerful tools for growth. Thank you and God bless. Long live Nigerian advertising industry. Long live the federal government of Nigeria, and long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. I think another round of applause is very, very welcome. The last sentence was, long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is our home, this is ours, so let's show that long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. A round of applause for us all. I mentioned earlier on that we're looking forward to the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, and of course for him to share with us a lot that has been happening. I did mention that you'll get a chance to also download a publication, the ministry's publication, 6 episodes. It's a monthly publication, and we're also using this opportunity to sensitize and let you know that it exists and you should utilize it. Luckily, we have sent an invoice to the ministry because this is advertising, and we do not do free advertising. All in favor, say aye. You're all in trouble. On that note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, fellow practitioners, the brain and the minds behind our wonderful industry, please let's show some National Advertising Conference welcome to our Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, our Chief Host, Alhaji Muhammad Idris, FNIPR. Please keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping.
Please sit down. The MC, you know that invoices can go both ways. If you know what we have to forgo to be here, I will see your invoice and double my own and also send it to you. But it's good to be here amongst friends, amongst colleagues, amongst fellow practitioners. The Director General, ARCON, Dr. Laleka Fadolapo, I can barely see anybody who has the kind of passion and commitment that this gentleman has about this industry in this country. Is rarely. His performance is actually above his age, to be honest. Thank you for what you do, and we will continue to support you. The Director General, MBC, Dr. Charles, the Director General, Voice of Nigeria, other DGs here. I understand the chairman, both Senate and House committees will be on their way here. There are a lot of important people here that is difficult for me to recognize all, but I can see my good friend for over 30 years. YBO, thank you for coming, and many of you. Dr. Babachoko, it's really so many good things are happening to this country. When he announced that Nigeria has become the vice president of this global advertising body, I really felt proud. Every time new things are coming to this country, yet we keep hearing people saying that this is not a good country, we have to go elsewhere. We don't have anywhere to go. This is our home. And this tells me that for all of us, no matter what the challenges are, Nigeria is it for everyone. As you know, we are going through a lot of challenges now. You know, the one ongoing is, of course, this characterization of our country as a country of particular concern. Let me assure you and everyone that the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is taking up this challenge. The government is stable, is focused, is determined, and we are also engaging both within and outside this country. We're engaging with all the stakeholders within this country. We're also engaging with all the international bodies, all the countries all over the world, including the United States. We have opened deep channels of communication, and I want to tell you that something positive will come out of this by God's grace. Like the master of ceremony said, I have directive of Mr. President to be somewhere in about an hour from now, so you permit me, if after 30 minutes I have to leave. And then Mr. President is also asking me to be somewhere again in another 2.5 hours. So unless you don't want me to keep this job, I will have to disappoint you. It is indeed a great pleasure and privilege to be here today as the chief host of the 5th edition of the National Advertising Conference. Let me first commend the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria under the dynamic leadership of Dr. Olalekan Fadolapo and other industry stakeholders for instituting this very important conference as an annual event and also sustaining it as a premier gathering of leaders in marketing, advertising, and communications in our country. This conference has grown into a major platform for thought leadership, exhibition, networking across a diverse and vibrant ecosystem of marketing communication, encompassing professionals in marketing, advertising, media planning and buying, outdoor and experiential marketing, the broadcast sector, the academia, regulators, journalists, government officials, students, and other key stakeholders. This year's theme, marketing communication, transforming business and creating growth in challenging times, is both timely and strategic. We live in an era where businesses must evolve not only to survive, but to thrive amid economic headwinds, technological disruption, and shifting consumer behavior. Marketing communication, therefore, is at the center of this transformation. It remains the bridge between creativity and commerce, between ideas and impact, and between perception and reality. As a tool of persuasion and nation building, communication has never been more powerful or more needed than it is today. Distinguished participants, our nation today faces challenges that are not only economic or security related, but also communicational. One of the gravest of this is the deliberate spread of misinformation, particularly the damaging narrative that Nigeria is a country that has no religious tolerance. Let me state clearly and emphatically that this narrative is false. It is a distortion of our reality as a nation of diverse peoples and faith who have lived together peacefully for generations. Yes, Nigeria indeed faces security challenges, especially from terrorists and violent extremists, but these are not targeted at any religion or ethnic group particularly. All Nigerians, Christians, Muslims, everyone is affected and has suffered from the menace of terrorism and banditry in this country. The administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is fully committed to ending this scourge. We have invested deeply in strengthening our security architecture, rejigging the command and control structure, and injecting fresh and new ideas and perspectives into the war against terror. Only recently, the Chief of Army Staff briefed the media after he met with Mr. President, providing encouraging updates on the significant gains recorded in just the past few days. These successes reaffirm our collective determination to secure every inch of our country and restore peace to our communities. In this context, marketing communication professionals have an enormous responsibility. You are not only storytellers of brands and businesses, you are also custodians of our national image and our national reputation. When false narratives about Nigeria are spread, especially internationally and also intentionally, it is your creativity, your strategy, and your storytelling that can counterbalance them with truth, with context, and compelling narratives of hope and progress. We need a communication renaissance, one that emphasizes facts over fear, unity over division, and truth over propaganda. We must project Nigeria as it is, a diverse, dynamic, and resilient nation of hard-working people who coexist peacefully, aspire collectively, and strive daily to build a better society. Through integrated campaigns, digital storytelling, strategic partnerships, and value-based branding, our marketers can reshape and give value to all that we do in this country. Nigeria is indeed a land full of promises. It is a land of opportunity, a land of innovation and creativity, not of conflict or crisis. Let me assure you that the Prime Minister of Information and National Orientation will continue to partner with ARCON to ensure that the advertising and communication ecosystem thrives in a regulated but also an enabling environment that will benefit all. We are retooling our public information machinery to align with the realities of the digital age, where truth must travel faster than falsehoods, and where the Nigerian story must be told by Nigerians themselves. The National Values Charter that is being championed by the National Orientation Agency under the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation is aimed at restoring the values of truth, integrity, patriotism, and national pride. These are values that will also underpin all marketing and communication practices in this country. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in these challenging times, communication remains our strongest instrument for business, for governance, and for nation building. Let us therefore use it wisely, creatively, and responsibly. Once again, let me commend the leadership of ARCON under Dr. Olaleka Fadolapo and the entire team for the vision and leadership in convening this platform, and for their continued efforts in regulating and strengthening Nigeria's advertising and marketing ecosystem. It is now my honor and privilege to declare the 5th National Advertising Conference 2025 open. Thank you, and God bless you all.
So I just told the Honorable Minister that I sent a quick message to our Commander-in-Chief, and he said you can stay with us, sir, that your job is secure. Believe that at your own peril, sir. Please, can we have the DG sectoral heads join the Honorable Minister?
Can we have Mr. Hosseini join as well, please?
And for those who...
Mr. Hosseini, please join. Mr. Rufai Hosseini, please join.
Please, can we also project the barcode for the FGN Connect, the ministry's publication, so that we can all download. I do implore you to please download. Just put your phone, your camera to the barcode, and feel free to download for free.
Okay, can we move the podium a bit?
Once again, we extend a great appreciation to the Honorable Minister for taking his time to be with us today. It shows how important we are to him, and of course, the ministry is to us. We look forward to more from them as well.
So can you have one more shot, including the DG, DG, please. DG. Please, we want you back on stage. You want a picture that has you, the honorables, and all the DGs, and the head of secretarial group. The ministers and DGs, yes, please. Okay. Yes, please. sorry, Honorable Minister. The first picture is the Minister and the DGs, please. The Ministers and the DGs alone, please. And next we have the head of sectorial groups and the Ministers, please.
And it's also very important to note to the Minister that these pictures are free of charge. No invoice required, sir.
Head of sectorial group, can you join them? Mr. Larry, sir, please. Can you join this so we have the sister? Yes, please.
I also want to take this time to welcome
so can we
those...
have head of sectorial group join in?
Those who might be joining us online as well on the various media platforms. Thank you very much for taking the time to be with us. And we do welcome you to the National Advertising Conference, the 5th edition so far.
At this point, I think we should give the the Minister a round of applause again, because he has agreed to leave his delegate with us. You know, last year was really spoke about having government involvement, and this year they've responded to it. Thank you very much.
Okay, so during the course of this morning, a couple of the people we wanted to recognize just wanted to escort the Honorable Minister out, and they will be back shortly. Good to see you, Mazi Rabiu. Is here, okay. So as you all know, this has been 5 years of the National Advertising Conference. And the gentleman I'm about to introduce to you, along with his 22-man team and volunteers from across the agency, will definitely have one or two things to say. This has been a labor of love. He's held the helm for the last 4 editions. And I think I speak on behalf of everyone that it has been
done a good job at it.
Very, very good job. Every edition has always been better than the previous one. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to make welcome on stage the GMD Republican Group and the Chairman, National Advertising Conference Committee, the one and only Mr. Tunji Adeyinka, FRPA, FNIM, DAD.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that we finished with all the ceremony, so we can go to the real meat very quickly. In the next 2 days, we started yesterday, we have prepared some very good thought leadership materials for us, and we're going to start immediately. We're speaking about the economy first, as we do in every conference, and then the topics we'll go through, we'll see the perspective from the CMO's perspective, we'll look at it from the agency perspective, and then we have the other sessions as well. The schedule is on if you check the website, you'll see everything that is going to happen today. I can't thank our sponsors enough. Our headline sponsor, Toleram, and Guinness, First Bank, Airtel, Muka, Flour Mills of Nigeria, Insight Redefini, Media Reach, Lolly, Royal Foam, Red Hook, Amasco, the FCCPC, and of course, Bugatti. So in the next few days, we would have an opportunity to interact with them, but more importantly, we'll have an opportunity to interact with the sessions as we have them today. I think I've missed one, Hoardings Nigeria Limited. So once more, thank you very much. Let's go straight into the meat of the matter. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please a round of applause once again. Please, it's not easy to organize anything, so I think he deserves, and the 21-man team deserve a round of applause. Mr. Tunji Adeyinka, we know how hard it is to just even organize breakfasts in our home, not to talk of getting various people from all over the country to convene year after year. So please, I will crave your indulgence to please give him and the team a wonderful, wonderful round of applause for putting the National Advertising Conference on the global map. Our first speaker presentation coming up this morning is from a man who is, want to say, over 18 years of experience, advising clients primarily in financial services, telecommunications, and the consumer market, to name a few. His expertise in financial services covers bank, tech, fintech, insurance, capital players, and more. Digital strategy, of course, and integration is not left out. We are excited to have him with us, the lead and partner of PwC Strategy and Practice in West African Market. Ladies and gentlemen, please do make welcome Olusegun Zaccheaus.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. All right, so I'm happy to be here. As I've been introduced, I'm a partner with PwC, and I lead the PwC strategy and business across West Africa and East African market. So what I'm going to do over the next few minutes is to sort of set a foundation for the subsequent conversation you'll be having in this conference. But I think my presentation is the most important presentation. So I ask that you listen well. And why I say that is, if the outlook goes south, every other thing goes south. Do you agree with me? So, but coincidentally, I'm bringing better news. When I do these presentations, maybe a couple of years ago, it's always difficult to start. So what I'll do today, my presentation is structured into three areas. First is to talk about Nigeria economy year to date. What are the big wins? What are the outstanding issues? To be very honest, we've had some amazing wins. And we economists call this, we've come to the point of macro stability. So for that, I can clearly say that I come bearing good news, right? But nevertheless, there are critical outstanding issues, what you call vulnerability or weak points that we must pay attention to as business people, because if those weak points become amplified, they can potentially upturn all the optimism we've seen in 2025. Then afterwards, I'll spend a bit of time talking about 2026, essentially the years ahead, and try to talk about 7 important trends that will be the factor that will shape 2026. Then I'll then land it by talking about what's the implication for you, where are the growths, and what should you pay attention to as advertisers in the market. So essentially, that's how my presentation will run. I've just sort of talked about the outline. So if I move forward, and you look at the dashboard right in front of you, right? What you see is quite a number of good indicators. And I'll try and make this very easy, right? When you see the word GDP, or what you call the gross domestic product, what that is saying is really talking about the activities within the economy. How is that shaping up? I think that's a bit of optimism on that. GDP is growing. It used to be at 3-point-something%. As our last quarter, we're itching above that. We're about 4%. When you look at exchange rate, and you see this because you deal with it every day, but what I want you to pay attention to in the exchange rate part, 2 things, right? One is a seeming stability in the exchange rate, which means the bands of the exchange rate has been within a reasonable limit. The second point, which is a positive, is when you look at the liquidity and the accessibility. And if you pay attention, you realize now that most banks says you can spend your Naira card abroad, right? which sort of indicates a bit of optimism. And you can also see that what you call, there's a concept in economics called price discovery, which means how do you get the price of the exchange rate? If you know now, everybody releases their price and it's a willing buyer, willing seller scheme that we're operating. I think from that angle, there's a lot of positive optimism to look out for. Another important point when you look at Nigeria and you look at what we call the reserves, which is the amount of dollar we have within the economy under the CBN's ambit. What you realize is that has also been climbing, right? Which also show a positive indicator. The other point I would like to highlight as a positive is the point around inflation, right? Inflation has been coming down a bit. And please, everyone in the house, don't misunderstand what inflation is. Inflation does not mean that price will come down dramatically. What inflation means is that the rate of increase in prices will slow down. And for example, I'm sure you can prove to me that a bag of rice that climbed up to like 70 is like at 50K. Am I correct? You can see some element of price decrease and stability. If you put all this together, in terms of statistics for Nigeria, you realize that yes, things are getting a bit better. So, what are the big wins for 2026? 3 important points I would like to talk about. One is to talk from monetary side. And let me just do a quick economics class. When you hear the word Central Bank of Nigeria, right? What Central Bank controls is money and its prices. Are you following me? Money is the amount of cash within the economy, right? Prices are 3. First type of price is interest rates, right? Second type of price is inflation. And third type of price is price of exchange rates, right? If you look from a monetary perspective, you realize that we are making a lot of good progress. If you come to the fiscal side, so when you hear the word fiscal, you're talking about the federal government, right? And the state government. When you look at that, there are a couple of things you look at. One is the is really collecting a lot more, right? And you look at things around the tax bill, and a bit of questions around some of the elements, but being able to create a new tax law that is implemented is also another positive win you have from the government side. Then on the investor side, we're seeing a lot of progress, even from a global side. And I don't know if you follow the news. There's a bad list you don't want to be on, which is FATF list, right? Which is a list that shows you the level of crime within your financial system is significant, right? But Nigeria recently was removed from that list, right? Another point you need to sort of understand, after we got, assigned as a concerned country, we went to raise Euro bonds afterwards, right? And that Euro bond was oversubscribed by 5x. What does that mean? And I need you to pay attention to this. What that means is that there's a better investor optimism in Nigeria as an economic entity, right? And which is very important, determinant of the future growth of Nigeria economy. But nevertheless, as I say all these nice things, there are a couple of things that are outstanding on the next slide. GDP growth is significant, but is still relatively low, right? Inflation is going down at 18%, but inflation in Kenya, South Africa is less than 5%, right? So as we are getting positive, inflation is still relatively high. On the fiscal side, debt sustainability is an important point. And obviously, when you read the news, Nigeria has been approved to borrow X, Y, Z. That's what we read, right? Yeah, that is not bad in itself. But at this point, we are even way above the Fiscal Responsibility Act target of 3%. We are close to about over 4%, which also creates some fear of future debt sustainability issues, which means we may not be able to meet our debt obligation, right? So if you look at all this, the type of capital that's coming in Nigeria is still not the direct investment, right? Which means the portfolio investment, and which what we saw lately. If you watch the capital market 2 days ago, you realize there were a lot of sell-off, right? And with that, a lot of foreign portfolio investment can exit Nigeria very, very easily. So, essentially, if we summarize for 2026, it's been a good and better year. And what we say is that it's a year Nigeria is turning the corner in which we have better macro stability. Let's move beyond that and answer the question, as we go to 2026, what are the critical considerations? And for me, the fundamental thing the government has to fix is, how do you connect macro stability to economic growth that is inclusive, right? And that's what 2026 will be the main issue to sort of deal with. So when you look at 2026, I want to sort of articulate 7 things you must pay attention to that will shape the outlook for 2026. The first of them, can you move this slide? Okay, thanks. So the first point is the affordability pressure. And the point here is we've made progress on the macro level, right? But the consumption power of consumers is still very weakened. In 2026, it's still going to be an issue we will deal with, right? Because real income may not grow as much. And this is how you look at the equation. It's pretty simple. First of all, if you want to achieve a sustainable economic growth, this is what typically happens. You achieve macro stability, which is where we are right now, but you then need to translate that macro stability into broader economic growth. And these are the equation flows. And it's very important we pay this attention to this. When there's macro stability, what happens is that investors bring in investments. Once investor brings investment, they create production. Production creates what? Jobs. Jobs creates increase in income. That is the logic of the flow. Now we are in the first step. The second step is to connect the stability to investment and funding. And it is when we begin to have that investment and funding that we can translate it down the line to job creation. So in 2026, we will still continue to have constraints in consumer spending. And due to a couple of things, job creation is not as significant. Inflation will still remain relatively high, right? And that's point number 1 to note. And when your business or your client business has to do with consumer, you need to really pay attention to this. The second point to pay attention to in 2026 is what we call fiscal consolidation and regulatory alignment. So, 3 things. 1, the easy one is how the new tax bill will be implemented. And we've all heard these rules around capital gain tax, right? How it impacted the capital market in the past 2-3 days. Are we aware of that? And a lot of investors selling off. And what has happened is that capital gain tax has moved from what it was to about 30%, which investors are sort of clamoring that it is significant, right? So what that shows is that these new tax bills, the implementation matters. Don't forget a couple of things that will happen, in 2026. From 1st of January, you must have your tax identification number, right? There are new technology like e-invoicing that is being implemented. All these are significant amount of change. And the shape of the success of the implementation of this tax bill will impact how 2026 will evolve. So you need to pay attention to that. The second point from a fiscal perspective is the issue around debt sustainability, right? Which is essentially we are borrowing significantly. If you remember, recently, just 2 days, we got an approval about $1 trillion plus borrowing to close the gap for 2025 budget, right? Borrowing will continue to be an issue, right? And what we are hoping is that government revenue does not significantly decline to create an issue in which we can't meet our debt obligation. But when you look at the probability of that, that is quite a